All right, welcome everybody for
Hi.
another episode of Haunting Experiences. And today, our special guest is my daughter, Faith. Episode of Haunting So Faith
so pretty.
has a lot of stories and things that have happened to her over the years that definitely, I believe she has some abilities. But we'll let her tell us some stories. Like Faith, do you remember one of your first experiences, honey?
I'm sorry, repeat.
I said, honey, do you remember one of your first experiences that made you think that something was happening? Something paranormal, something.
The very first memory, like the first paranormal thing I ever remember was there was a night, and it wasn't a dream. It was, at least it didn't feel that way to me. Mom had just come home from work. I was probably like 5, around that age. And I remember sleeping on the mattress, and it was morning, and Mom had come in, and she laid on the mattress next to me, and I looked up out of the window, and I saw what looked like a gorilla, like just sitting outside of the window, and it was just sitting there staring at me, and it wasn't moving. And I remember being scared because, like, I knew what it was. And I remember trying to get Mom's attention and like shaking her. I'm like, Mom, come on, come on. I knew if I had looked away from it, it was going to be gone. And Mom was not waking up, no matter how much I shook her, no matter how much I was yelling. And then I turned over and I was like, Mom, wake up. And then I looked back and it was gone. That was the first thing I ever remember.
So, do you think that was a certain type of being, or what was your thoughts on that when you had seen this figure? What do you think it was?
No, I haven't done a whole lot of research into this stuff, but it felt like almost as if it was trying to protect me, like a guardian.
It sounds like a watcher to me.
Yeah.
Like Bigfoot. And Rachele and I had experiences like that, so that's kind of why I think that.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, how big was this thing?
Big. It was big. Like, like you go to the zoo and you see a gorilla that big. Just like, I wouldn't even know how to really describe it to you other than a gorilla.
Wow.
Yep.
That's interesting.
So what about, I remember Faith and I have the same marks, like on our legs, and she has an extra one on her thigh, I think. Maybe not.
It's my birthmark.
That's a birthmark, yeah.
Yeah.
So like ET experiences.
Yes. When I was my first extraterrestrial visit that I remember, I was living on Crawford Street with my dad in the second house we lived in. So we lived in 2 on that street. And we were upstairs, and I remember waking up, and the first thing that I noticed was that my window was not right next to me. And in my bed, we had a window that was level next to my bed. So when I would wake up, I would feel like the coldness of the window, and I didn't feel that. So instantly, I didn't even like see the street light. So I knew something was up, and the ceiling was really close to me. And that's when I realized that I was floating above my bed. I could feel the blanket weighing down on me. And when I had noticed and I tried moving, I fell into my bed. And I know Taylor was really young when this happened, but she was awake when it happened. And the blanket was still falling when I ran out of my bed. Because that was terrifying for me. I was like, no, I'm going to go sleep in my sister's bed.
I have a question about that. Do you think that was like alien beings, or do you think you were actually levitating, like yourself, maybe unconsciously? Or
I really don't know. I didn't feel like I've definitely felt like something was off, but to be honest, thinking about it now, I don't know if I felt another presence. I just know that I was scared because I was floating, and that's not something people are supposed to do.
right. Wow.
It's actually common for people who astral project.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that next too, because sometimes when you astral kind of feel like you're levitating, but also it seems like your body was as well. It's really interesting.
How
Faith
old
also
did you
has
say
an
you were?
ability. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
How old did you say you were with that one, honey?
I was like 8 years old.
And was that the only time that you ever remember, like, actually floating?
Floating, yes.
Okay. But you remember, like, more experiences with it? Like, something else? I mean, like, alien?
I just remember like feeling like I knew I needed to wake up, and then feeling really scared when I realized why. That was about it for me. And the blanket was what really threw me off, because I feel like if it had been like my spirit astral projecting, it would have my blanket wouldn't have done that. I would have woke up and I would have been in my bed. But when I woke up and was in my sister's bed, my blanket was still coming down. And that was just so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like since your blanket was doing that, maybe you woke up before you were actually abducted, is what I think.
That's what I think too.
Or what if this is kind of what I took from when you started to question her, Cortney. What if we've been talking about like activation, DNA activation, and certain things happening, especially with the youth
Yes.
that are coming in with like more DNA switched, like the starseeds and stuff like that. We know that there are people that have done levitation. We were just talking about this. But light as a feather, stiff as a board, where we actually levitated. What if she was actually, like you said, levitating herself, and she had that ability, and it's something that she unlocked in her dream state?
Sorry.
That's possible.
I was wondering that myself, because it's a common thing like with hybrids, and if you're not consciously aware, I could see where like being in the sleep state would like have like manifest those abilities, because that would be in like our subconscious or higher self, and perhaps that's what was going on.
That's very possible.
I never even thought about that. I always thought, growing up, that was just an alien abduction. But you guys, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So have you had any like sleep paralysis or anything other than that experience?
I have had several cases with sleep paralysis.
Wow.
And my first one was actually in that same house. I remember waking up and knowing that it was almost time for school, because one of the things that I would smell every morning before school was getting ready to start was coffee and a cigarette. So my dad would get up and he would put a pot of coffee on and he would light a cigarette and start smoking. Well, I remember waking up and I couldn't move. And every time that I would try to move, I would hear like a growling, and I felt this heavy weight on my legs. And I couldn't open my eyes. I couldn't talk. I couldn't do anything. And then the next thing I knew, my dad opened up the bathroom door, because our house was really weird. We had a bathroom underneath the staircase that connected into another room. So he could come in through the other room, through the bathroom, and into our room. And he opened up the bathroom door and shed light onto our bed. And this thing, I witnessed it fly off of my legs, and it went into the closet. And I remember asking my dad to check the closet, because I thought there was like, it almost resembled a large raccoon. Like, it was not that big, but big. So I remember thinking, is one of the cats on me or something? And I'm like, I'm not at mom's, and dad doesn't have any animals. So that was my first experience with sleep paralysis.
Oh, wow. I remember you telling me about that. And it sucks when, nobody believes that happened. And when you're that age, so it's they try to explain it away.
Right. Like dad did. Dad set me aside not long after that, because for a long while there in that house specifically, I experienced a lot of supernatural things that were just scaring me. And they started to scare my dad as well. He set me aside and he was like, I know that you're like your mom. He's like, but here you're just kind of scaring me with it. And he he was like, if you feel that way, he's like, you should probably just talk to your mother about it. I'm like, I'm scared.
Did you feel like a lot of it surrounded like your closet, like perhaps maybe a portal or something in there? Or was that like a one-time occurrence, or were there repeating occurrences with like your room in that closet?
I definitely feel like there was something about that house. But I also experienced it after this house as well. I seen a lot of things in that house. The basement especially, I used to have dreams about it all the time, that I was flying through the basement before it was what it is now. Like when we were living there, the basement was all tore apart. There was a room inside of the basement that was annexed off from everything. They put a brick wall up, and you can see where they tore it down. Like when you would go, I don't know if you remember this, Mom. I don't know if you ever went in that basement. But in this basement, you walked down onto these steps, and then there was a big opening, and there was a wall that was broken down, and past this wall, there was another room, like inside of the room. And there was a lock on the outside of the door and not on the inside. And there was a chair in there with a little doll on it, and it was terrifying. I used to have nightmares about this basement. And then, we ended up having the fire in the basement, and not long after that, we ended up moving. But a lot of very creepy. I used to see things walk up the steps, because we had a spiral staircase. And from where our bedroom was, we could see the spiral staircase perfectly. And at night, we would have our bedroom door open. And I can't tell you the number of times it was this specific thing, like white cloaked, walking up the stairs. And it would walk up, and it would walk slowly across it, and then go into Scott's bedroom.
Wow.
I'm willing to bet, has that happened frequently for you? Not only seeing the spirits, but being able to tap into past things that are in certain locations like that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Future and past, actually. I feel like,
The joys of parenthood.
oh yeah.
That's what I was thinking, Courtney, was that it was some sort of like energy that had been stuck there.
Well,
And
Yeah.
that's what she was seeing. Was it a repeat pattern that you were seeing, like constantly the same thing? Yeah.
she
Yeah.
sees, well, I don't know so much about anymore, but she can see spirits or interdimensional beings, and no, saying that now. At the time we thought it was ghosts, or she could see other people's guides, because she could see stuff around other people.
There was one around Mom growing up. And it was very brutal sight, but this man had half a face. And he wore overalls and a flannel. And I remember seeing him follow Mom around a lot. A tall guy. He looked like a farmer almost. Like, like how when you imagine a farmer, you like imagine like a flannel and overalls and one of those hat. Like, that's what I picture. And that's almost exactly what I saw, except, half his face was missing.
What about the Blue Man? You remember the Blue Man?
Yeah, I've actually had dreams about him recently.
Really?
Yeah, around the time when I thought that I was pregnant and I ended up having a miscarriage. I had a dream about him sitting at the end of my bed by my feet.
Wow.
And he put his hand on me and he said that it was going to be okay. And then he walked away and I seen these little orbs around him.
They took
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
they took it.
Exactly.
For hybrid.
It was yep.
I just
Exactly.
read in this book I just bought that these glowing orbs people are seeing is actually an advanced technology that carries things to where they need them to go. That is so interesting. And blue reminds me of like Arcturus or Venus kind of.
Me too. And we thought for the longest time, when she first started seeing the Blue Man, because this was, oh my goodness, Faith, you were 3
Young.
or 4, I think.
Yeah.
3, I think. My
When-
friend's boyfriend, it wasn't her boyfriend at the time, but it was somebody she was really close to at one time in her life. So, and it's also Faith's dad's cousin. So he died of asphyxiation, or he swallowed his tongue. He had a epileptic seizure in his sleep, and so nobody found him. So like hours later, he was blue. So, and this thing that she kept seeing and talking about was visiting her when I stayed with Kelly, and she called him the Blue Man. So we just kind of assumed it was Rodney, but I'm thinking that it died. It's somebody that's been there.
Yeah, I think it was an extraterrestrial. I don't think it was
Me
anybody
too.
that had passed like that.
Yeah.
And
Do
I
you
find
remember?
that I was just saying, I think that's a common theme too, that most people having these experiences really young, they have a being or a imaginary friend or a certain somebody there, like kind of in and out their whole life. So
Hi.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
I was going to ask, do you remember any other details about the Blue Man? Did he have hair? Was he tall? Was he short?
He was fat, round.
That was another reason why I thought it was Rodney.
I gotcha.
And
Do
he
you think it could have been?
the reason why I felt like it was Rodney it also, you know, like your mind has a very powerful hold over you. So even if it was something like a hybrid, my brain could be comprehending it as Rodney because it was something that was not scary to me.
Yeah.
When
And
I
he had
think of
just passed
Rodney,
at that
I
time.
think of happiness and loving and caring.
Yeah.
And
That's
here's
very true.
another reason why I feel like it might be Rodney. I mean, I'm very, you know, I'm on the fence about it. I feel like I know Rodney. Like I know him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very close to him. I feel like I've known him a lot longer than what I've actually known him for.
In
I know
this
things
lifetime,
about
you mean.
Rodney that I shouldn't know about Rodney.
Right.
And he died when I was 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Perhaps to be a guide, you think?
I
Like
think
a-
so.
Or
I do.
past life interactions.
Right, like a
Yeah.
soul.
Rodney
contact.
was a very, very good person.
So good.
He was. He was, you know, I mean, I kind of, you don't know everything about people, but I had known him long enough to know that one, he wore his heart on his sleeve, and he was very responsible. I mean, he was just an all around good kid because he died young.
Let me ask a question. I'm curious, Faith. You said that, you know, you kind of know things about him, like that you can't really figure out how you know them. Does that happen to you frequently too? Like, can you pass strangers on the street sometimes and like pick up secrets or things about them and just kind of have the sense?
It's very easy for me, especially people who wear their heart on their sleeve, even people who don't. You know, you can tell, at least with me, I could walk up to somebody and they start talking to me and they just instantly start pouring out all this stuff, you know, just venting to me. And it's like without even trying, even if they don't say anything, like, one of Coda's friends was having a really bad day. And I came in there and she didn't have to say anything to me. She was wearing a smile on her face and I knew that something was wrong. I asked her what was wrong and she started crying on me.
Mm.
I find that as a gift for myself because it's nice when you walk up to someone for them to feel like it's okay to open up to someone. And it's very easy, empathic to, you know, walking up to someone and just knowing that they don't feel right, that they need help.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. You're like,
I agree with that, but you can also get yourself into a world of trouble when you keep yourself open like that also, because you suffer sometimes from being super emotional, right? I mean, where it just like drags you way down, right? And you don't always understand why. That could be why, because you are letting other people's energy into your own field and it is throwing you off.
yeah,
So learning like spiritual boundaries and stuff like that. It is a blessing.
It
but
is. Yeah.
it can be a
Start
curse,
with
too.
identifying your gifts. And once you realize that that's a gift, then you learn to work with it, control it, and find out, you know, the weak points and what you need to strengthen. And so, yeah, I would agree with that. You're very empathic. There's no doubt. And you're a channel. You know, you can see things, or a medium, maybe.
literally, I resonate so much. I'm so glad that she's
Uh-huh.
I'm getting chills and stuff because I know kind of what you're going. It's like looking at younger me, and I'm like, wow.
My mom and my Aunt Rachele, they say the same thing. They've been so excited for us to sit down and talk because of our experience are so much alike.
Yeah, and it's difficult when not many people experience it on the same level. That's really awesome to have met you and like hear your experiences too.
It is so awesome to meet you, because I mean, I feel like the only other person I know who's had almost the same experiences that I've had is my mom.
Yeah.
And never as vivid, you know, like, you know, she sees these interdimensional beings, and she's been seeing them since she was a toddler. And then, you know, and so, and her dad and I weren't together, you know, when I first started learning of these things. So then she'd have to go over there, and they just didn't encourage it because they were afraid of it. So then she'd come at my house. It's like, so she was kind of caught in the middle. She had a real struggle there of, how do I deal with this, you know?
And orbs, did you see them a lot when you were younger?
I did. I used to think it was like part of my vision, like because I've got bad eyesight. So I used to think
So
that
do
was
I.
just something, you know, that, you know, would happen. And then I remember actually talking to my mother about it. Oh, Hansi,
Yeah. I think he knows I'm talking to you, sis.
I miss him. But yeah, sorry, I got distracted.
That's okay.
I love cats.
Yeah.
Oh, me too. Me too.
Cats will do that, right? So will dogs. That's why I keep on like taking it off, because they're being assholes.
Kids
Anyway.
do that. Mine's over here laying on the floor staring at me.
What was the most frightening and the most interesting being you've ever seen?
Oh, I could tell you. I was living with my dad, and it was right before I actually got kicked out of there. We were living in this trailer, and I remember waking up, and this is how I know that your eyes are open when you roll over. I also don't sleep with my back to open spaces because of this anymore. Lola. Hey, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. It's okay. It's okay. But I was sleeping, and I was facing the wall, and I went to go roll over, and we had a very small room. Where's your sippy? It's over there. Go get it. It's on the table. It's on the table. Go get it. Go get it. Or don't. It's cool. And I remember rolling over and seeing something in the middle of my room, just standing there staring at me. And I got this awful feeling, like almost like I rolled over and slipped into paralysis. And I got cold. I was freezing. I started sweating, and I could hear my floorboards creaking because this thing was walking towards me. And it put its hand on my leg, and I freaked out and started screaming Taylor's name, and then I blacked out. And the next thing I knew, my dad was on top of me and had my arms crossed against my chest, and everybody was crying. I don't know what happened from that time to the point where my dad had me down on the ground, but I was in my room, and then I wasn't.
Wow.
And like when Taylor says she doesn't really remember it, she just remembers me freaking out. And my dad doesn't talk to me anymore, so I can't really just ask him about it, but it was very, very intense for me. I freaked out. I did not want to sleep in that room anymore.
Wow. That is intense.
Just because I knew it was bad, whatever it was.
Wow.
I felt like it wanted something from me, and that was the most vivid and terrifying experience I had ever had when it comes to stuff like that.
Do you remember what it looked like, or was that kind of blocked from you?
It was very big, and it looked like it had layers on it and a light on its head.
I've been seeing entities like that, and that just gave me chills. The lights on the head, yes. I don't know what that's about, but that's interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
I have a theory, and just because, okay, would you ever fear knowledge? Too much knowledge can be a bad thing, right?
It can be destructive.
I feel like it was, what do you call
The
this?
third eye.
Third eye.
Yeah. I feel like whatever it was, whatever I was seeing on its head was its third eye. Because the feeling I got from it was like it was just too much when I would look at it.
Mm. I wonder if that could be another version of yourself.
It was really big though. Like, and it terrified me.
I mean, how many times have you been afraid of things and then later in retrospect go, oh, maybe that was something different? Because I think we're programmed to fear things that we don't understand.
Definitely.
I mean, that's why we're even having this discussion right now, is because people have experiences all the time that they're scared because their church or their religion or their parents or whoever, a friend said, oh my God, that's terrible, run from that or whatever.
So do you see anything now, sis? Is there anything that,
bless you,
like what you've been dealt with in the past, or have you kind of blocked that out?
Sometimes I definitely feel like it's not as prominent as it was when I was a child, but it is almost every day. I'll see something and I just kind of like brush it off. There is definitely something in our apartment, I believe. Whatever it is, it's not very tall. It's white, like a pasty white, and it's playful. It likes to play tricks. I've seen it a few times sitting in the living room or in my kitchen, and I'll see it just poke its head out like this out of my bedroom door.
It sounds like an elemental.
I'll see it in the TV screen sometimes. Like, I'll be sitting, we have this big TV in our living room, and I'll be watching TV in the little TV because our big one's broken. Long story. And I'll see it standing, like almost behind me sometimes, just standing there. And then I'll look back, and then it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's just doing it to like play with me.
Yeah. Well, that's good, because just from what I know, they're have good intentions. They just are playful.
You know what? Here's the thing, though. The fact that you're seeing it as a reflection makes me think that you're seeing a different dimension. They're starting to merge.
Yep.
And maybe they have been merging for you for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, I do think that, who was it that said something about the hybrids? There was like 3 different levels of hybrids.
Don't be playing with the wires, Lola.
Yeah. So these things and the different starseeds that are coming in, it's like she said that the third wave are the ones that their DNA is already like changed. It's the ones that are like the first wave and the second wave, mm-hmm. and other people that as their DNA is changing with the earth, it's much more difficult. You getting something?
Yeah, we may want to watch this back, because when you guys are talking, I'm hearing white noise voices, and I heard listen to me, and I'm going like I'm trying to listen, like, what you got to say? I don't know who or what it is, but I can hear it clearly.
You know what? I was just wondering something too earlier. You had said, you had mentioned something about like our voice, and lately it's been like where you have to go like this in order to, because it's like amplified, and we're just talking like regular, and it's not that you're hearing it super loud on like the device, you're hearing it super loud like inside of you, right? It's like, so could there be something, welcome back, sweetheart, could there be something in our voices that's also being activated with our DNA?
I believe so. It only happens with certain people, I notice too. I think it has to do with vibration and frequency. Those who are like in a higher vibration, I'm hearing that again.
What are you hearing?
I'm hearing talk to me, listen to me.
I'm going to tell you something important. I had a weird experience the other night.
I know that sometimes, I don't know if this is just like, oh God, stop. Stop, honey. Your
Hello?
popo is on. Watch it.
I'm half awake and asleep. I saw someone in my room, and it was like pulling me out of bed. I could literally feel that energy pull. Yes.
It's just like what Mom went through. So yeah, that's
what I see a lot, is like the white noise. You can hear it, like a smacking sometimes, like electricity, but you can also see it. Like, I look at that like it's the veil or something. They're like trying to pierce the veil.
Is that, Lola, is that your puppy back there?
Yes. They're both down here. Yeah.
I do feel like you want to get up here, so you're not rolling all over the cords and stuff, please. I feel like, I don't know. I hear talking sometimes. I don't want to sound crazy, but I hear talking sometimes, and it's only when I'm stressed. Like if I'm really super stressed out, it sounds like there's just people talking, there's cars going by, and there's like a whole bunch of different things happening all at once. And then when I take a second to actually, clear my head, I'm like, that stuff is not actually there. Because I'm like, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't know why I just heard talking, but I totally just, it felt like the TV was on or something, like people were talking. And, then when I calm down, everything goes back to silence. And I don't know if that's just, like a mental thing or if that's spiritual.
That happens to me a lot too. I believe when we're highly emotional and stuff, it's going to match whatever energies are there. It kind of fluctuates. If you can think of it like layers to an onion. And when we're not tuned in or grounded, we're kind of all over the place. So we're like channeling through all these different layers of things in our reality that we otherwise can't quite perceive with the senses alone that we have. So people with abilities, that's common. Like, have you ever heard voices that sounded like they were coming from the very next room? They were there, but then you get closer and it sounds further away or stops. And stress and high emotion, that's when things go haywire for me. So I completely get what you're saying. Usually if we question, are we crazy? Crazy people don't know they're crazy.
right. Faith, do you remember when you lived at home and you were a young teenager, and you were extremely hormonal? We would have some verbal stuff going on between mom and daughter. And I remember books flying off the bookshelf. And you were telling me you felt like somebody was tickling your feet. I mean, I think it was poltergeist stuff because of your energy was just all over the place. What do you think that was? Well, tell us about it first.
So around that time, Mom's right, I was a teenager and I was hellacious. I had a lot of things going on, and I do feel like a lot of it could have been my energy, but I also feel like there was another playful thing in that house as well. Because I remember the Jehovah's Witnesses coming to our door and asking me if I would like to study with them. And I told them I didn't really know, because I am, I want to learn about every religion. I don't want to just sit down and only learn one. And I was like, well, let me read your guys's Bible and everything. And, so I laid down in my room with the Bible, and I started reading, and I started getting really tired, like just out of nowhere, just super tired, and like really depressed. I didn't want any light in my room, and all there was light in my room. So I hung up blankets and made sure that there was absolutely no light in my room. And then I fell asleep, and I slept for 24 hours. And I woke up the next day, and I remember coming out, and my mom's like, where have you been? I said, I've been in my room. And she's like, it's the next day, Faith. I go back into my room to lay down, and I open up the Bible, and I started reading. And then I felt knocking on the bottom of my bed. Like there was some, our beds used to be bunk beds, and Taylor would kick on the bottom bunk. It felt like that. And then I heard somebody say my name. They were saying Faith, Faith, like they were trying to get my attention, but it was a male voice. That's how I knew it wasn't anybody in my house, because Bob was not home, and it didn't sound like Bob. It was a deeper male voice, and it very playful, because around that same time, books went flying off of the shelf, and that was after I moved the bookshelf from one side of the room to the other. So I thought it had something to do with that, maybe. Oh man, there was the Mother's Day. My little sister had gotten something for my mom, or not for my mom, for my stepmother. And my mom got upset because, my mom puts in a lot of hard work, and for somebody else to be recognized for the work that she was doing hurt her. So she was very upset that day. And, I tried making it up to her, and we ended up having a good day. But that night, when we laid down for bed, I heard crying in Mom's voice, saying, you don't love me, and talking about Mother's Day, and like literally crying. I heard it almost as clear as if she were sitting right next to me. And I remember like yelling out to Mom, and I was like, are you okay? And she didn't answer me. So I was like, what the hell? And I leaned out a little more, and I yelled her name again, and she woke up. And she was like, what's wrong? And I'm like, were you just crying? She's like, no, I was sleeping.
You're psychically linked to your mother. You're definitely psychically linked to your mother.
Oh yeah, I don't know if my mom's ever talked to you about this, but my stepdad, his mother passed away, and around that same night that she had passed away, my mom and I had the same exact dream and came out into the living room at the same exact time, because we both had seen a woman in a dress with like medium hair going from the porch into the living room. We had both seen it, came out, woke up at the same exact time, and went into the living room. And I was sitting there, and my mom goes, I just had a really, really weird dream. And I'm like, please don't tell me. Because I did too. And it was really weird. It was one of the more weird things that I've experienced when it comes to me and my mother.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, my sister and I used to have conversations in our sleep together in separate rooms. Like people could hear us literally talking in our sleep, the same conversation. You know, one day I would like to maybe see if we could also play around in the dream realm.
Definitely.
I've been having
Good
dreams
girl.
about snakes.
Mhm.
I have those
Yeah.
dreams. Losing your teeth. Nightmares. But I had a dream, well, a nightmare that we have a snake and her name is Bethesda. And I had a dream that she transformed into a cobra, a large cobra. And she was telling me that she was hungry, but she was not speaking like you and I are speaking. She was,
Telepathically telling you.
yes, telling me that she was hungry and telling me that she was gonna eat my kid. So I was like, that next morning I told Koda that we had to go get mice for Bethesda because she's hungry.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? I'm like, she told me, okay? She told me she's hungry. We gotta go get her food. But yeah, I've had lots of dreams about snakes in my life where they're talking to me. And they're like harming me, but I feel comfortable with them. Harry Potter.
Ain't the wrong button.
told
I have to
Koda
say,
that too. I
you
said I'm a
know,
parcel tongue.
Reptilian.
in real sky, you are Ophiuchus,
Yeah.
which is the serpent bear. The 13th, well, it was like the hidden one. So you could say like the 13th one. And what were we just talking about yesterday? Like feminine
Mhm.
empowerment and the 13, number 13.
Yeah.
Yep. We
Interesting.
had Faith's chart ran, and she's from, so of course, everyone's a star seed, but it was breaking it down to the different incarnations on the different planets. And one of the other things is the lady said, and you do realize that Faith is a crystal child. So, and I guess that's kind of what I believe that Dolores Cannon was talking about, that the children that come in that are just prepared. They're ready. Mhm.
Like the third wave, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. And you know what, Sissy, it's coming from you. Yeah, I'm hearing it. I'm
I don't know.
definitely hearing the white noise. It's like
I hear it when you
radio
talk.
station. I'm hearing it when you talk too.
Maybe it's my computer.
Why, Carla?
Oh,
No, I mean, that's what I just heard. Why, Carla?
Who are you? What is the meaning of this?
You're in that room.
Uh-huh.
That's the room she's in right now. It's the same room where I felt something kicking on my bed and yelling my name.
It's male.
Carla just went, oh. Hello.
Now, I've got a question, Ma.
Yes.
You remember when your dad passed away
Yeah.
and the lights flickering on and off throughout the house?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder, do you think now that was actually him, or?
Oh, I have no doubt it was him, but I know now that there's a portal, and somebody told me that a lot of your older homes or whatever all have portals anyway, almost like an entrance and a
Exit.
yeah. So
I believe that. You know how many dreams I've had about the house alone, advanced or not advanced, way later in the future. And this is what makes me think the world is going to end, but it's going to end in a natural disaster. Because in the house, when I walk in, I've had several dreams like this, and I could, like, literally am seeing it right now. walking into the house, and the house is all broken up. The floor is broken up. There's vines. It's overgrown with nature. The roof is missing. All the doorways and everything are still there. But I remember being there. The ground is different. It's all risen and like hilly.
Lola, what's wrong, ma'am?
She's tired.
Take a nap, love.
Oh, don't tell her that. She'll freak out.
Find the crescent, Carla, was what I had heard. I don't know what that means. Find the crescent.
Okay. I didn't do a I'm going to put this in there. I know these are usually about our special guests, but I got to tell you because my body's like tingling, majorly tingling right now.
And then walk. And then walk.
Not this one right now, but the Mindful Souls
You're tired. Lay down.
Come here, baby.
that I didn't do a video on, the one before the one I got. I'm going to do a video on this new one. I got a moon. It was a half moon with a little stone in the middle. Gone. It was gone. I couldn't do the video. And I looked at it and it's gone.
What happened?
A necklace that came in one of my Mindful Souls has a moon, a half crescent moon in it, a necklace with a little stone in it.
He's saying, find
Is
the
it black?
crescent, Carla, and walk with me.
It's black, and the stone, isn't it kind of like purple?
It's clear quartz, something like that. Yeah.
Gypsy's hearing it too, and it's a male voice. Yes. I'm definitely hearing it. I mean, it's like tuning in. It's like white noise around a voice.
Right. It's doing it with you too, honey, when you talk. You and
Yeah.
Carla.
What is up?
I don't know. 'Cause
My whole thing just flickered.
It's our dad. It's our dad. I just realized that. It's got to be because she was just talking about him and she was asking me if I thought it was him, and I know it was him. And he came through that portal and he was strong.
I remember because I was upstairs when he right before he died. I was upstairs and I saw a picture, a very old black and white picture of a young man, and I didn't know who it was, but I felt like a resonating feeling towards this picture, and I was like, I'm gonna hang this up. And I hung it up in our bedroom, and when we left, my mom went upstairs, and as she was looking at this photo, my grandmother called her to tell her that he had passed away.
Yeah.
I keep
And the night before he came into the house and he was like, the lights flickered and all of a sudden this like rush of energy right in my face. I could almost feel breath right here. Like he was trying to say something and he couldn't say anything. And then I was like, all right, that's enough. And I stood up, the lights came back on. And as fast as he was in my face, he was like gone. And then the very next day, my mom told me, yeah.
Well, yellow flowers. I don't know what's up with that. I keep seeing it in my mind's eye too when I'm hearing the voices. I don't know if that means anything to any of you. Yellow
flowers.
And I heard,
Like,
listen to me, damn it. Listen to me. Before the crescent.
Maybe you need to find, maybe there is a clue when you find the crescent, Sissy.
I will. I'll continue to look for it.
Oh, and also, that's what I was getting in my head. I was going to put my ghost tube on. Maybe that's what it means, is put your ghost tube on by where the crescent is.
Okay. All right.
Ghost tube is an app that Carla's been using, you guys, that you can actually, it's like an EVP kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or like a spirit box.
I don't think it's your dad. I don't think
don't
it's
It might
grandpa.
not be. It might not be. I just
The
feel
reason
like
why I
it's a
say that is
possibility.
because whatever it is was there before grandpa. Because I remember it being, there's always been something on that porch, Mom. You remember when we first moved in and I had to call Bob to come to the house because I was almost positive there was someone on the front porch?
I got it.
We had a tarp
Honey.
put up to keep it was during the winter to keep heat, circulated in one area.
Well, your grandpa died, honey, before we moved in.
Oh, well, it might be. I just remember him, whatever it was pacing back and forth on that porch.
I'm wondering if it, like when he did come to talk, sis, because I'm wondering if maybe he's the reason that the portal is where it is, because the reason that when I say I thought he was angry was because of the force that he came to me. It was like, you need to know that I'm gone.
Or maybe he had something important to tell you because our father suffered from schizophrenia. And maybe
He might be
was
seeing
not
with
when
a
he was
clear
in his-
mind now.
Right. But you know what? When you said that you kept on seeing it go back and forth, Daddy used to pace back and forth all the time.
Yeah,
That's what he would do, is pace back and forth. I
Yeah.
swear it was like one of those things where you would think, okay, this guy, there's something wrong with him, because he would go over here and he would talk, and then he would go over here and talk like he was talking back and forth with somebody. Remember?
I'm
I mean, what
wondering.
freaked me out?
I heard something about a car.
My heart. She
She
fell
fell
asleep on
asleep.
me.
Oh,
Look, it's good.
About a car.
Watch the car. Watch the car. It's coming through in bits and pieces, but it's almost like it's that urgent energy. Oh, bless her.
That's kind of scary. And you say watch the car because our car's transmission is going out.
Well,
Wow.
just be
I
careful.
put protection on you all the time, on everybody.
Now, here's what really gets me about that
Hand
is
protection, and it's on all of you.
recently I asked
Stalker.
my mother about my grandfather's schizophrenia because I've been having a lot of really bad episodes and mood swings, and my depression is really bad, and I worry sometimes about possibly becoming schizophrenic later on in life, and or having a schizophrenic break or something like that. I'm not gonna lie, I very much fear that because I can tell when I get upset, or like it. For example, today all Dakota did was take his bike out, and like it upset me, and I don't know why. I don't, I mean, I'm sure I could probably sit here and be like, come up with a couple reasons, but in all honesty, I should just be able to let that go. But I'm like, for some dumb reason, I just can't. I am like emotional as hell. It is so bad.
See what I mean? You too. Do you see why I was drawn to you?
Yeah, like she's literally me.
I'm telling you,
Like,
it's like weird, eerie. Oh my god, I just heard like a growl.
It's the TV.
Okay.
Yeah,
Alright.
we're
there's also
watching.
frequency with that too, though.
It was a growl. We're watching Coco. It was that little tiger thing. I don't know if you guys
Okay.
have seen Coco. I've seen it so many times because of Lola.
Wow. Yeah, I had experiences in and out of institutions. They diagnosed me with bipolar with schizophrenic tendencies. So that was always a fear of mine too. My heart goes out to you, doll, because that's tough to deal with, especially like the whole am I or am I not thing. Always go with what your gut tells you before the fear. how you truly in your soul feel about it. If nobody else had an opinion, just you and your heart, try to distinguish like how you feel about it personally versus what the world is telling you. Would be my advice. Like, it is scary. It's scary, especially when it's very intense. Then you're questioning it, but it's for. I think you're highly gifted, very sensitive too.
She's a writer like you are, honey. That's another thing. She would, oh yes,
I feel like I know her.
freaking Facebook, on her Facebook when she was younger. I mean, just these long paragraphs about how she was feeling, and I'm
Me
like,
too.
oh, don't put that on Facebook, you know.
Me
But they were so friggin' deep. I mean, they would pull you in. You could feel like her soul in those words. If she channeled that, if you channeled that, honey, oh my gosh. Because I know you're just like an open pool of emotions. And I know Chris too. That's why, yeah.
I'll have emotional outbursts for the smallest things, but it's usually because in our minds, we're dealing with all of this different things coming in all the time. We're used to that chaos, but people around us aren't. So things from the outside, as we're getting all this and dealing with everything and trying to process it, something can happen outside of us, and we're just going, what the hell, you know, because a lot of it is like in as well as out, and it's a very chaotic energy, hard to cope, especially when you're a bottle of emotions. It's gonna come out one way or another.
You were a conduit. That's why. So when you're taking, that's why I said it can be a blessing, very much a blessing to be able to feel those feels, right? But it can also be a curse when you don't know how to channel them properly, because it's going right through you. If you think of a wand, or you think of copper, electricity, it goes through. It has like a thing, a current.
Right.
You guys are currents.
Right. And usually with even magic and stuff, that's how I see or operate. It is current. So also one thing I learned that's very important. Observe what you're feeling, thinking, seeing, and hearing, but also don't let it harness inside of you for too long. Try to decipher it the best to your ability and then release that, let it go. Because that's just as important as receiving them, because that too can make us a little
unbalanced. And that's when the chaos begins, right?
Right.
And I think that schizophrenia runs in families. So I'm not saying that it could not be that, but I think sometimes some diagnoses are because they don't know what exactly the problem is. There's not a Western medicine solution for everything, in my opinion.
I agree.
I'm not a doctor. I'm not prescribing anything or, diagnosing. I'm just saying from my own perception, because even like Sylvia Brown, she thought she was schizophrenic when she was younger. She thought she was schizophrenic. Yes. And I think if you were to research many mediums and or psychics, at one point they thought that they were schizophrenic.
Mm-hmm. I did. Even the doctor that diagnosed me openly said you don't just fit one of them. Like I'm going with the best that he could come up with.
Right. I had gotten tested for it when I was 16. Because I flipped a table at my mother. So I had to get tested for schizophrenia and a bunch of other things. They did blood tests and it all came back negative. The only thing that I came back positive for was I had PTSD, manic depression, and high anxiety and ADD. That's it. That's all they said that I had. And one of the things that I found difficult was, for one, I believe them on some of it, but I feel like there was more to it than that. Because I feel like this manic depression is not going to make me feel the way I've been feeling. And I seen something. I had seen something on the internet that I thought was pretty beautiful, and I can't recite the words exactly, but just give you a basic of what I read. And basically what it said was that how you perceive things and how I perceive things are two very different things. You see a butterfly, and I see a butterfly in the midst of disaster. You know, you see a butterfly just landing on a car. Okay, cool. Butterfly just landed. It's an insect. Oh, well. The way I see it is, wow, this beautiful creature has blessed me with its presence today. Because everything else is shit right now. I've been having a shit day. And everything just feels like it's too much. But this beautiful ass butterfly just doesn't have a care in the world. And it's just fluttering along. And maybe I should do the same. That's how I see things. You know, I think, I overthink. When I think of any little thing, I think about every aspect of that little thing. All the different outcomes that could happen. And normally they're bad, sometimes they're good. And, you know, other people don't see it that way.
You're a
That's
weaver,
why
too.
Coda says, I'm just emotional or I'm crazy, because
Remind
when
us
he
how
says,
old you are, honey.
huh?
How old are you?
21.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I feel like I know you, though, like at a soul level. I really do. Did you used to take small things like that? Because, I mean, from like 14 to your age, I can remember I would look at things like that, take the smallest thing, and I would get out my notebook and I would write like a deep poetic perspective on how I seen that thing. And
My camera just went off for a second because someone was calling me. Sorry.
but
Yeah,
I was
did.
just wondering. That's so interesting.
You remember doing that, Faith?
Doing what?
Like with the butterfly, taking like certain ways you perceive things and then jotting it down in like a poetic form. Or, yeah.
I have whole
could
notebooks with stuff in it.
Have you
I
done
could
any
describe
automatic
air
writing?
on one full page, back to back, just air, wind, a feather. Even I like, people would be like, okay, it's white and it's got little hairs on it. It's white, it's light, it carries very many different colors. The texture, sometimes it can hurt, sometimes it can be weightless, it can be heavy.
Where did
It
it go?
depends on the situation. There are so many different ways that you can take to describe just one little thing.
So true. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you ever do automatic writing, honey?
Mom had told me about that. I have not tried it yet.
Because if you're questioning sometimes your own sanity or why you're feeling the way that you are, maybe ask your higher self
Yeah.
and see what your higher self has to say about it. I mean, you are a writer, so
I feel like, you know how they say, Mom was talking to me about this, how you have several different versions of yourself. And I have had several dreams where Mom has helped me to realize that I was looking over myself. And usually,
what do you mean
it's-
looking over yourself? Like a bird's eye view of yourself in your dreams? Is that what you mean?
I don't mean like astral projection, but yes, like that. I mean, I guess it could be a form of astral projection, but it is a different me.
I bet you can dream walk.
I have had several dreams about separated oceans and several oceans. And most of the ones that I have that are about me, that I feel like are like from my past me's or other me's. There was one I had in particular where I was on a very old ship, and there was a bunch of these slaves on the ship mining rocks, which was weird. You know, you're on a ship mining rocks. These slaves were chained to the ship, And I was floating and nobody else could see me. I know, remembering that. I had a sun umbrella and I was decked out in Victorian, like a Victorian dress. And I remember going all the way down the road to one of these last few slaves. And he stood up and he had these beautiful eyes. I mean, he was just beautiful. And they were taking these slaves when they were done with them and putting them into these catapults and shooting them into the ocean to feed these killer whales. And I remember being loaded up into the catapult, like I was attached to him everywhere he went. It was like I had this little link, and I was in this catapult being drawn back and telling him that it was going to be okay. And we went into the water and he got ate. And then we rose from the water and we walked off.
You are remembering being his spiritual guide. That is
Right?
exactly what
Getting
you're
ate by
remembering.
some killer
Wow.
whales.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I had told her, that she watched him ascend. Yeah.
You were there to help him. That reminds me of the story of Kuan Yin and her spiritual guide in the Sophia code, Dragon or Sophia code. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Faith, I will stress why I think it's so important for you to keep on this journey, because before I got pregnant with you, like at the time I had said a prayer and was asking for something, a turning point in my life. I needed some type of guidance. Okay. Now at the time I was very religious, and
they see you.
I found out that I was pregnant not long after that. So that night, it's like I knew before I actually got up the next day that I was
Okay.
pregnant with you. So then, as in my pregnancy, I dreamt of you, of walking out of the sea, and you were a toddler, well, a baby, and exactly how you looked in my dream is exactly how you looked at that age as a toddler. I knew also then that you were a gift and you were given to me. And the fact that you came out of the sea just told me where your origins were. So all this I know now. All this I know now. And it is
I heard it.
I
that
heard it.
you are.
I thought one of you guys said it.
Oh, no, guys. No.
I heard I see you, and then right after, she came back to me as she was telling that story.
I have my ghost tube here, and I was going to tell you I heard keep recording because we were going to hear something, and somebody named Margaret, why that I don't know, and games, and then yes, I see you.
So, the ICU was clear as day.
Oh my gosh, I heard it. Everybody heard it.
It was a female voice.
No, that's what I was telling you. That was my app. I had my
Margaret.
app going.
Oh,
I'm gonna
that
turn
said
my
I see you. I was about to say,
But it's never said anything like keep recording before. And what are we doing?
Look out. Exactly. We are using Ghost Tube.
Yes.
for
It
any
ain't
of those out there.
compatible on my phone.
It's not compatible for your phone?
No.
What kind of
Don't know
phone do you
why.
have?
I have a Galaxy, but it's UK too, so
Maybe, yeah. That could be why.
Trying to figure out what the fuck I'm doing in this game.
Wow.
it made me shake it, and then like it
KG.
said,
I kid you not. I am not even kidding in the slightest. You just said Margaret.
Yeah. What is Margaret?
What is that for, honey? What is that?
What is that?
For my game.
What is that on?
It said games. It says games on here. It said keep recording. Margaret Games, I see you. Oh my gosh. What the heck is that?
I've been playing a game called Tiny House.
Did you just hear what happened though?
Yeah.
Games are alternate
My
reality.
mom's ghost tube picked up Margaret and games.
Yep. Said keep recording. Margaret and Games.
Well,
Woo!
we're recording.
Yeah.
Is Margaret one of the circle names?
No, Rick Mort is though.
Yeah. Okay. So
That's cool. I just
Tom
yeah.
Riddle ended up dying by suffocation.
What the hell are you playing?
It's
It's
a
called-
Freaky says, how did you get your shit to work?
And all it is an escape game.
Oh, that's cool.
I paid $3 for this whole motherfucker.
She's playing a game called Tiny Room.
I just heard beware, what'd you do with the fire?
With the fire.
silly. It just said silly. Because we were laughing. We're silly. We're
Yeah.
silly. Yeah. Believe me, that's how I get this ghost tube to work. I talk to it, and it usually talks back. It's cool. I like it.
Is there a certain setting that you're using on this, sis?
No. No. Are you on the ghost tube or the SLU?
The ghost tube.
Okay. No, you just make sure, don't point it at your computer, obviously, or
I was
like,
just trying to show you to see if I was doing it right.
yeah.
Yeah, mine literally has no ghost tube. Like, I can't even find an actual ghost tube app.
Wow.
I would not download one because I'm too afraid of what it would say in my apartment.
You're
Probably
probably
anywhere you
weird.
go, sissy.
I only
Anywhere you go.
I only want it so I can record things like around me or whatever.
Because your third eye, sis, is very developed, and that's why I was trying to tell you before we got off about ghost tube here, is that you need to definitely stay on the spiritual path and try to learn control of your emotions if you can, as much as possible. But keep practicing, especially, I just gave you that tarot. Do stuff like that to where you're exercising your that path. Like, maybe you could say it better, sis. Because you have so many gifts, and Cortney is done a lot with her gifts, and I think that you could really learn. You could learn to
Honestly, it got easier when I quit battling it. When I quit fearing what I was or what was happening around me, and that's easier said than done. But so a lot of our issues, I think, as humans anyway, and then more so with abilities, is that battle against it. Oh, I don't like this, it's uncomfortable, don't want to see it. But I finally came to the conclusion, well, I'm not going to get rid of it. It's kind of a part of me. So work with it would be my advice, but that is easier said than done.
It's well, I mean, coming to terms with that is hard for me, only because I really feel like some of the people around me aren't as in tune with that and don't believe it as much as I do. And in this
That's hard.
day and age, as sad as it sounds, if I were to come out and be like, hey guys, I hear shit and I see shit, they could.
Yeah. Yes.
But the way people are, anything could happen. They could take my kid away from me. They could institutionalize me. Like fucking.
That's why it is good to be. This is why I feel like this is like a support group for people.
It is.
Because
I was just having this talk with a friend of mine last night.
I love these
seriously,
lives because it shows how actually it's like normalizing this, because it is
Yeah.
kind of a normal fact of life. These are forces that are natural. You know, it's important, I think, for people to band together and share their experiences and such.
and
I look
nurture it
at it.
rather than run away from it, because I think that stuff is going to continue to be maddening until you start like tuning yourself to it so that you can understand it rather than it just feeling chaotic. You know what I
If
mean?
people go to any of the websites that are out there that like watch the earth, you know, like all the stuff that's going on in the earth, they will see, you know, that the earth is going through something. It's
Oh, yeah.
been going through something. So and then, you know, so we know that the earth is in a process of ascension. So you have to understand that's affecting us. We are on the earth, so everything on the earth is going to go through that ascension. So my point is that maybe, you know, 10 years ago even, yeah, people are going to be, yep, you're crazy. And you would definitely have to worry about that. But as we band together and we help each other and we do make people, I'm not going to say make, but give other people the opportunity to see that this is happening to a big percentage of the world, well, then that'll take some of that stress off of us having to worry about that, because I have so many people that I know now that do have these abilities, and they're not crazy,
Exactly.
you know? And so that's why we constantly need to help each other, continue to listen to each other,
Because,
you
I
know.
think it's more normal than it is extraordinary.
I do too.
right, so do I.
too.
And taking that crazy a step further, I think ascending with the earth, like we are of the earth, I think a lot of things are being activated in us that would make
Yes.
us appear supernatural. When really we're trained our whole lives to think of the supernatural as nuts or imaginary or, you know, whatever. But to me,
I'm
it's
sorry, what?
real. I was just going to say, to me, I think it's actually more natural than what we are taught, in that we're starting to come into this truth.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a very real thing. You know, you grow, as soon as you come out of the womb, you are instantly being taught what our government wants us to be taught. You know, we are being taught to
Manipulated.
live a certain way because that's how we have gone on, you know, instead of like if someone were to go out into the middle of nowhere where there's no government, where there's nothing, and the only thing that you have to rely on is food, water, and shelter, okay, you live off of that. You grow up very differently and more intact with yourself versus growing up in society where people are dulling your senses from everything that all these capabilities that you have, all these things you can do. We could be far more advanced spiritually than than our technology.
I don't know how you said that. It was like you got confused on trying to say spiritually in the middle of the word.
Yeah.
Well
so,
said, though.
So knowing what you just said, Faith. So what do you think you can do to like kind of go off the grid without actually leaving your apartment, or you know, what are some things that you can do? Sis, what do you think?
Mullet just got up off my legs and fell onto the floor and went back to sleep.
Oh, to be a kid again. Yeah. So what do you think you can do, sis?
And now she's angry.
So Lady Blind Wolf says, I find it amazing that you're supposed
Hold
to
on one
think,
second.
act,
I'm
and
sorry.
feel a
She's
certain way.
flailing. Lola, come
Because
up here,
that's what the
baby.
government says, talking about all the freedoms that we have, but yet we don't have them. Exactly right, because they try to shut or censor, shut us up or censor us when we are talking about these kind of things, or put a label on them, or call us conspiracy theorists, or
Give me 1 second. I gotta go grab a diaper real quick.
Okay, honey.
Hold on, Lola.
That's real life right there.
exactly. In reality, we don't have the freedoms that they say we do.
Honey,
We don't have the freedom
Come
to
on,
practice
get
our
up here,
religion.
get
We
up
don't
here.
have the right to peaceful
come
protest.
on.
We don't have any of the freedoms that they.
Freedom's an illusion
Come on, Lola.
unless it's
Native
in the
Americans
mind.
are not even allowed to practice their own tribal traditions or religions until. Exactly. That is disgusting.
It is disgusting.
Am I still robot?
You were for a little bit, but
Domo wherever God still missed.
Domo.
Domo.
John 5 is alive.
Plus, I really
Yeah. That's great.
I got the power.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I know
You're
that's
back.
funny. My goodness. You went,
I did?
yeah. Yeah, and it was your face was stuck like that.
Oh, shit. They're just messing with me now. That's
I
what
know,
they're doing.
right?
Jerks.
I just
got your number.
you know, this is my crazy. You know, every camera, phone, TV, anything that can record is recording, whether we actually push record or not, to keep us from doing this, you know, and obviously on a larger scale, because this is nothing compared to what we can accomplish when we come together. The things that we can do, because, you know, I believe that we have power over anything, even in the fourth density. It's just reaching above that, getting past that, and that is fighting this, you know, the doubts, the fear, fighting all that and realizing the divinity that we hold within us is more powerful than anything that,
Oh no.
you know, that might make us feel like we're not. Because
I mean, what are all the things that were considered
government.
evil?
Thanks.
What were all the things that were considered evil?
Okay.
Anything
sorry,
outside
guys.
religion.
Oh, I mean,
You're born.
self-knowledge, right?
Right.
Psychology to some point is probably evil. They thought
Sex is evil.
dancing,
Music,
getting certain dreams,
books.
right?
Yeah.
Being able to see things.
Yes. She's right about this, because that's they do have power, but it's the whole thing until the day comes when it crumbles. You know, unfortunately, yeah, that it's a physical power that they hold over us, but
It's going to take the whole world coming together.
yes.
Which right now, a lot of Europe and the UK by the millions are peacefully protesting, but they're not getting coverage on their movement.
Okay, so this
I mean, yes, I do see that too. Just like people are talking about all of these chips getting inserted. Nope, we already have the chips, and they are called your phone and your
That's
ID.
exactly
Yeah.
right.
What about your credit cards, your debit cards with the
there's a trail.
but
Exactly,
now
and they want to get rid of cash money.
Yeah.
Put one more on you.
Really?
yeah,
Yeah.
virtual.
Exactly.
Lock us in. Get everything online. Order everything online. They're moving us virtual.
Yep.
That's gonna And they're also
All right, there you go.
mass censoring things on every platform, especially this one, Facebook, Instagram, all of it. They are mass censoring. I shared a freaking news clip yesterday. Oh,
You okay,
You
sissy?
okay, honey?
Yeah, just knock yourself out real quick.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry.
Funny.
I didn't see the window there.
Oh
It's
my
okay,
goodness.
little-
That's
Stop
funny
it.
because the spirit box just
Once in a
said
while.
window. It
Spirit thinks it's funny. My mom's got her ghost tube on and it said window.
Lol. Fuck
Thanks
you.
for the warning. Could have used it a little sooner though.
That's too funny. Oh my goodness.
reminds me of the Oracle on like the Matrix, where she's like, "Oh, don't worry about the vase."
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
You
not
know-
even just the Matrix. Don't they do it in Scary Movie?
Oh yeah,
They do
Oh,
a
yeah.
Scary Movie when Queen Latifah is a medium, and
love her.
I love Queen Latifah. Fuck, what's her name? Anna Faris. She goes in there and she's Queen Latifah goes, "Watch out for the vase," and she looks to her left and she accidentally bumps it and she goes, "Oh, I'm sorry," and then she backs up, bumps into another one, and a big ass vase comes down and falls on her. I think it's 3. I think that's Scary Movie 3.
Yeah, she
All
did
right.
3 or
So
4.
does anybody have any questions for Faith? I mean, Faith doesn't have a channel or nothing like that.
I
She's
have my own
my-
YouTube channel, but I don't do any
You?
videos or anything like that on there.
Oh,
I might
okay. Okay.
start, but
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. That'd be awesome.
Maybe we could collab on some things.
oh,
Yeah.
I'd love that. I would love
Yeah.
that.
That'd be
And
awesome.
you are reading tarot also. You're a tarot reader, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah. You on Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll find you.
No.
Yeah.
Maple kind.
You know, I just want to reiterate this, and I did the last time too, but loneliness doesn't come from being around people, in my opinion. I think loneliness comes from not being able to be who you really are around the people that you are with, because either they're too afraid to hear it, or they don't want to see it, or they don't believe like you do, so they would rather squish your voice. That is like loneliness. So finding, and we can't expect this of all people. Not everyone's going to feel the way that we do, so that's fine. But it's good to find the people that do support you in the things that you're going through, and that's where we can start raising, I think, ourselves out of like the gutter, and raising ourselves out of these negative emotions, because we have people that actually listen to us, you know, and tell us we're not going crazy. Wow, you know, what you're experiencing is amazing. Tell me more. And they want to, you know, communicate with you. So
Yeah. I agree with that. Did Dice Controller 187 says, "Can you stay on Earth after death and be a ghost, and how?"
I think that all actually depends on.
I don't really. Don't get me wrong. I
Not
believe in
Earth.
ghosts. But I don't believe that people perceive them the way that is what people actually, when you Lola, stop. No, quit it, knock it off now, you're fine.
I believe now that we control our destiny, including theirs. I believe that everything that we do is still, we have free will.
Big ass fan.
I don't think it ends at death.
Metal fucking fan.
Lola, get up.
So
I'm sorry, guys. Sorry.
I
that's
think
what I believe.
I believe that when you die, you do still stay on this earth, just not in your physical body. It's more of your entity, your spirit, your soul. And I believe you already exist that way.
But there are
On
also
several
guides
different-
on the other side too, that if you get lost, they help you to remember who you are, where you're at, what you're meant to do.
Which is what I think
you know.
deja vu is. I mean, little reminders, you know, that you're on the right path.
Yeah.
You know, it could be a message from your higher being. Like, when I get deja vu, it feels so right. I don't know about you guys. It feels weird, but it feels right. Like I'm on the right path. I'm where I'm supposed to be going. And that's why I remember this.
Same. I agree.
It's like a confirmation, another synchronicity.
Yeah.
Everyone, this is Skyla, by the way.
Synchronicities.
The only thing I can actually give to this conversation is I recently found a thing called transcendental meditation. There are 42 tapes that you listen to, and it teaches you how to astral project, how to heal your own body with your mind, and how to essentially become one with yourself. It's really cool.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, I think that it's like I think it's a lot to do with realms and dimensions. There are so many parallel realities with the things that we perceive with these senses here. We can't perceive them even though the spaces exist all around us, all around Earth, all around everywhere.
That'd be cool.
That's really cool.
That is cool.
That would be cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
I do believe that we have a choice. Even when we pass, we have a choice. And I believe that once we pass, we also are more in tune with bilocating. So that means that we could be on one plane and be on another plane. You know what I mean? Or be in another dimension and being in somebody else's guide. Because I don't think every existence that we have is an existence like this. I think it's also that we are, we help others as well. So that's pretty much what I think.
So, Skyla, Dice wants to know, where do you get those tapes at?
I actually have them all downloaded onto my Google Drive, so I can send you a link and you can just listen to them.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we could put that in the comments.
Like 5 hours to download.
Join our sisterhood.
Right? Yeah.
It's worth it because I don't know how long they'll stay up. So
okay.
Because I was going to start putting docs for the sisterhood in a Google, like compiled knowledge or other things. And I wanted to put that in our sisterhood Discord.
Yeah.
Where if people's on their path looking for certain things and one of us has already been there and can contribute, I thought that would be interesting.
That's excellent. Yes. We got to start using Discord more. I forget.
I know, right?
I'm so bad. I've got all these different things, and I'm like, oh my God, it's like overwhelming. Yeah. Well, thank you, sweetheart. This has been fun. I have a feeling we're going to have to do a follow-up again because there's a whole lot that wasn't even touched on with you. A whole lot. So, and we're probably going to see more of that because we've got to do another one of Cortney. We've got to do another one with Mom because the same thing. And ongoing stuff. I mean, there's stuff that you guys don't even know that, like in our dreams, that I believe are actual communications. Or, I believe that the real matrix is when we are awake. Or, I mean, when the real reality is when we're sleeping. And this is when we wake up. That's why we forget a lot, is the dream. You know what I mean? It's the illusion. So, yeah. Anywho.
Yes. And I'm going to get a hold of you on Facebook and we can talk and make some plans and stuff. And if you ever need, anyone to talk to, Faith, feel free to hit me up. I'm usually an introvert, but if, you need to talk or anything, I'll listen.
And same to you. I'm all, if I don't get back to you right away, I definitely will as soon as I can.
Awesome.
It's always
He
nice
will
to have.
probably email one of us with the link. So, Dice Controller, you're in the Amethyst Ascension group, right? On Facebook?
Who, me?
No,
No.
Dice Controller.
Oh.
You can probably have her email that link or have her give us the link in the Amethyst Ascension group, okay? On Facebook. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I knew we were getting ready to end and I didn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, coolio. Yeah, we'll remind her.
Yeah. I'm interested in those too. I would like to look at those.
I'm
Yeah,
making
definitely.
my own binaural beats.
Mm.
I definitely I feel like we should also the next video or next couple videos, I don't know if you guys are so practicing into this as much, but the hypnosis,
Yes.
We'll get there. We're gonna get there. That's for sure.
Yeah.
definitely scared to do it, but I feel like it would be cool to
So,
do
yeah.
just to hear about like the different things that you just
Mhm.
haven't tapped into.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness, yes.
That'd be amazing.
Agreed. We're gonna have
At the end of their past lives.
John.
Yeah.
Keep it,
That's what this is. It's called past life hypnosis.
Oh,
Neat.
let's keep it
Yeah.
secret until we have the people on.
Oh,
Yeah,
That's kind of
okay.
the fun of it. Let's keep them
Yeah.
secret.
yeah.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Keep me secret. Okay, all
to
right.
be continued.
All right, guys. We're going to end this. It's been an hour and 45 minutes. This was
Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah.
There's going to be a follow-up. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We hope you have a wonderful weekend.
Yeah.
And we love you. We'll catch you next time.
Tune in
All right.
next time. Bye bye.